MC011, your account has been restricted. How's it going, guys? I'm Jamie. Welcome to the channel Thrift on Fire. If you're watching this video, you're probably dealing with the MC011 restriction from eBay. I've recently went through this in the last year, and I'm going to share my story, and hopefully my story can help you get your account reinstated. The two things we have to talk about here is why this happens and how you get your account reinstated. So the first thing I noticed one day was my listing started to end automatically, and it wasn't just one, it was one after another, and I had a couple hundred listed, so I noticed all these emails coming in and push notifications. So I went back in to see what was going on, tried to relist some items, it wouldn't let me. I even went as far as trying to list the items like they were new again, and it still wouldn't let me do it. So I knew there was going to be a problem. So the first thing that went through my head was, what's happening? Who's responsible for this? Was my account hacked? And then I got the dreaded email, MC011, your account has been restricted. Now let me tell you guys, I was pretty shocked and I was pretty angry and pretty confused. I didn't really know what to do, so I searched on Google and YouTube for answers. So first off, what I found out was this is more common for business resellers and drop shippers. Drop shipping is a no-no on eBay, so that's not surprised. Myself, I'm just a part-time reseller currently. I do most of my sourcing through thrift stores, garage sales, and sometimes I buy liquidation pallets. So I don't really fit the mold for this, is what I was thinking. But it doesn't really matter what I was thinking. I was still hit with the MC011 restriction. So there's not exactly a defined reason why you get this. To be honest, there are some reasons they give you, which could be too many open cases, things not received, like not having proper tracking, maybe your identity isn't updated properly. They're also going to ask you for things like receipts and proof that you've purchased some of the inventory that you're selling. Those are some pretty big things right there. So the last one is pretty tricky. So if you source from thrift stores, garage sales, or unmanifested liquidations, it's going to be hard to come up with receipts to prove where you bought this stuff. So that's going to be part of the journey. You're going to have to figure out a way to come up with some sort of documentation proving what you've purchased. So I started on my journey to get my restrictions removed. So the first thing I did was pick up the phone and call eBay, and I found out rather quickly that this particular restriction is handled by a different department in eBay who can only be reached by email. So that was a little bit frustrating that I couldn't just talk to a person and figure out what was going on. The next thing is eBay, when you do call them, they do have great service. Their customer service is great if you're trying to remove negative feedback, if it's unwarranted, or if you have questions about policy. It is a good service, but for trying to get restrictions removed like this, you do have to do it via email. On March 9th, 2020, I replied to the email asking what my violations were, what steps I needed to take to clear this up, and that I was willing to work with eBay in any way necessary to get my account restrictions removed. On March 19th, 2020, eBay opened my appeal and asked for my complete cooperation. So in this email, they sent me a link that I needed to click on the link, sign into my eBay account. Then I had to upload photos of a bank statement or a credit card statement showing my name and address. That is the same as my business address. And the other thing they wanted was documentation showing things that I had purchased recently, things that I've listed recently on eBay, and they wanted to see invoices or proof of purchase. So in my case, a lot of my items came from thrift stores and garage sales. I did happen to recently buy a liquidation pallet and did have some stuff listed from that. So I was able to take my receipt from my liquidation pallet and submit it. But the pallet that I bought was unmanifested. So it basically just had a header from the company, said that I bought a general merchandise pallet, but did not have a breakdown of what I bought. And the same can be said for if you go to Goodwill or any thrift store for that matter. A lot of times you just get a receipt that might say home goods. It doesn't, or clothing. It's not gonna say Nike t-shirt. It's not gonna say golf clubs. So you do have to try to keep as much stuff as you can. It's unfortunate, but you do have to have some sort of proof of what you purchased. So I filled out all the forms, submitted all my documents, and sent it away with my fingers crossed that eBay would take my account restrictions away and I'd be selling back on eBay in no time. On March 25th, I hear back from eBay. They say, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time to try to figure out the situation. However, your documents are either incomplete or not legible. I basically sent what they asked for. I did look at the documents before I sent them. I think I sent a driver's license for proof of ID. I sent a bank statement, the bank statement that I used for eBay, and I also sent documentation of the liquidation pallet that I bought. It was unmanifested, and I did believe that was the big problem. So I had to start over. Now, in a move that can only be explained by the classic Bill Murray movie, Groundhogs Day.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Groundhogs Day, eBay had gone ahead and asked me to submit the exact same documents for a second time. So after getting everything uploaded for a second time, I decided at the bottom comment section I would go into detail about how I source through thrift stores, garage sales, and the liquidation pallets that I do have are not manifested. I did include the header for the company that I buy them from so that they could contact them to know that I do buy from them. Although in the email it does say that it's just used to prove your credentials and that they'll be destroyed after. So I don't think they really want to reach out to these companies so much as they want you to prove that you actually purchased the inventory. Once again, when we're buying things at thrift stores and garage sales that are new in packaging, it is pretty tricky to prove where they came from. But you can keep your receipts. You can always go back to the stores and ask them to even write documentation, maybe saying that you do shop there often if you're willing to do that, or they're willing to do that. But you just need to try to find some sort of proof if you don't have some receipts. Finally, on March 30th, 2020, my count restrictions were removed. My 22-day nightmare was over, and I could begin to sell on eBay once again. Now, the slight downfall here, besides missing 22 days, is none of the information from those items were saved, so I had to go ahead and relist all those items from scratch. It did give me a fresh perspective on listing and taking better pictures, so in that way I'm thankful, but I wouldn't really want to have to go through something like this again. So a quick recap on what you'll need. You're going to need proof of identity, probably a driver's license or potentially a passport. You're going to need a bank statement or a credit card statement with your address and name on it. And then you're going to need some sort of proof of documentation of stuff that you've bought that you have listed on eBay. It can probably be anything as long as it's pretty relevant. If it was something you bought in the last month, they'll probably accept it. You just might have to explain exactly what it is, where you sourced it from. Just work with eBay. They really want you to sell on their platform, unless it looks like you're selling, drop shipping or selling maybe stolen merchandise or something like that. This is to protect everyone involved. It does really suck, I'm not gonna lie, but they're looking out for us and they're also looking out for the consumer. I wrote a short list that can help you avoid having issues on eBay, and they're pretty simple. You want to ship on time with tracking. You want to work with buyers on open cases. Don't let eBay step in. That's the worst thing you can do. Don't drop ship. It's against eBay policy. They don't like it. PayPal doesn't like it. Maintain positive feedback. That's one of the biggest things. People look at your feedback when they're buying from you. Keep record of large purchases, or if you're buying things, large purchases. If you're buying multiple quantities of things, those are the things that potentially could look suspicious. The other things that could trigger eBay into thinking something's wrong is a large spike in sales or maybe too many returns. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps even one person get out of the restriction. MC011 is not very fun for anybody, but until next time, guys, take care.